Another thing that I did not like about working in corporate, people taking credit when they don't deserve it. And this has happened to me multiple times, and it was annoying. But the first one I'll share is the first thing that happened to me when I was an intern. So there was this issue essentially during shipping, and not to bore you with all the details, but there was this part that looked like this, and this part that looked like this had two little hoses on it. And during shipping, those two little hoses would fall off and dangle and hit other stuff and make it hard for it to be pulled out of the little racks they were in. So they tried all these different things, nothing worked, all this stuff. It was like a big problem because the parts were going to OEM, right? And one of the big three, and they were very, very unhappy with the hoses. So it had to get fixed, right? And it was for a very special car too. So, moral of the story, had to get fixed right away. So they tried all these things, nothing worked. Nothing worked. And then what ended up happening was those hoses kept falling off. They actually did a whole bunch of different changes, like I already said, and nothing worked. And they were just kind of like stumped. So I came out with the idea that, hey, why don't we put like two little nubs? There was this thing on the back of this part that looked like this, and it just like held the hose in, right? And my idea was to put two little nubs on it, so that way it would hold the little hose in, right? So it wouldn't fall out. Very simple. So I still remember this because I remember when it happened and I was so mad. But anyway, keep going with the story. So I came up with the idea. Everyone looked at me like, hey, that's a good idea. Next, I actually made prototype parts, tested it, and guess what? It worked. It was awesome. And once it came down to it, they ended up filing a patent. They ended up doing like all the stuff, and I got zero credit for it. Zero. And there have been multiple scenarios when I was in corporate and I did certain things and that were, actually like pretty big deals, right? That either saved the company a bunch of money, that made something easier, that whatever the thing was, and never got credit for, right? So that really bothered me because obviously I don't think you need to explain why it really bothered you, but I think that does happen a lot in corporate because you have, like, for example, you have a lead engineer on a certain car, right? And let's just say that the car comes out like amazing. But every single person that worked on that car, the designers, the calibrators, they're the ones who really did the work, right? The head engineer just kind of like sat there and like played around on a spreadsheet and yelled at people. So obviously you need that person to kind of keep everything together. But the reason that program is where it is, or that part or whatever you're talking about, is because of the actual people that put in like countless hours to make that part or that thing be where it's at. So that just really bothered me. And I think the other thing that bothered me was when when you did get like a, hey, good job, it would be like just like a pat on the back, or it was never like I don't know, they were like empty things. Like, for example, like, let's say you did this whole project, you worked hours and hours, you worked 7 days a week, you worked 12 hours a day for a salary, right? So that means you worked a lot of time for free. And then a company would come out and be like, oh, great job, here's a picnic, or some like dumb, crazy thing like that. And to me, that's just like a slap in the face. So that's another thing that I really did not like about corporate, is that when people do shine and when people do work really hard, they don't really get credit for it. And not just credit like, hey, good job, but like credit like, hey, you saved this program, or you went above and beyond. and here's like a bonus, right? I think that would be a good thing. When people work so hard and not just some like superficial like dumb gift or some picnic or barbecue or something. But anyway, that's another thing I did not like about the corporate world. And again, there's like a huge list, but that just kind of like reminded me of it, just because that was like the first thing that happened to me while I was still in school studying engineering when this happened. And I remember when it happened, and the guy took like all the credit for it, and I was like, like this is what I gotta look forward to. But anyway, so again, not bashing corporate. Some people love it, just not for me. And I'm just sharing the things that I've experienced that made me dislike it. So hopefully this video helped. And if you are going to corporate, just take these things into account, because you will run into them one day, and you should take them into account now than later, right? And I guess I can make a video about like the shitty things that happen in real estate too, right? And it'd be the same thing. So you just gotta pick what shitty things you gotta deal with, right? But you also got to pick the rewards, and the rewards in real estate are much greater than in engineering, in my opinion. Anyway, hope you have a great night, and I'll see you on the next one.